Have you ever wondered about the people, places, and history of Trussville, Alabama? What was here during the Civil War? How did the Great Depression play a role in developing Trussville as a town? What was here and now isn't? What could have been here but was derailed? What is still here now that you don't know about just yet? Trussville has a rich history, and it's past time to not only tell you, but show you. Welcome to Traversing Trussville. I could tell you the basics of the history of First Presbyterian Church of Trussville, the picturesque white building on Highway 11 as you kind of enter the downtown corridor of the city of Trussville. It was founded October 2nd, 1867, when 21 people met at Sarah Talley's residence with the Reverend D.Y. Wyatt, Reverend A.M. Sadler, and the Reverend T.B. Taylor for the purpose of organizing the Cave Springs congregation of the Cumberland Presbyterian Church. The church began that day in the home of Sarah Talley, became known as Cave Springs Presbyterian Church, named for the caves and springs located near the current church property. There were 17 members by letter from another church and 4 by experience, according to church history. The name was later changed to Mount Nebo. Church became part of the Presbyterian USA in 1906 and was later named First Presbyterian Church of Trussville in 1958. The church building was built in 1899 in partnership with the Freemasons as a 2-story building. The top floor was the Masonic Lodge and meeting room, while the main floor was the sanctuary, where a different denomination service met on rotation each month. A 2-story bell tower faced what is now Highway 11. The original entrance was what is now the back right side of the sanctuary. The original stone steps are still in place with a large gap sealed off between stained glass windows. The church began having weekly services in 1956, and the building was remodeled in the early 1960s, according to a 2017 Cahaba Sun article by my friend Chris Meganson. The top floor and bell tower were removed, and a fellowship hall with bathrooms, kitchen, nursery, storage, and office were added. It was the first indoor plumbing. The congregation pulled away from Presbyterian USA and became an independent Presbyterian church in 1981. Mount Nebo Cemetery, located right across the street, predates the church for which it is named and began as a family plot for the family of Dr. John Spearman Edwards, who moved to Jefferson County from South Carolina in 1830 and first owned that land. After Dr. Edwards' death on January 18, 1841, the land passed to his granddaughter Georgiana Latham Davis, the wife of Dr. Elias Davis, a Confederate surgeon killed in the Civil War. Upon the death of Mrs. Davis, the cemetery land passed to her sons, J.D.S. Davis and W.E.B. Davis, both prominent physicians in early Birmingham. The daughters of W.E.B. Davis next owned the cemetery and deeded it to the Trussville Memorial Cemetery Association in the early 1970s. Rocks and rock cairns mark many of the early graves. Burials include those who served in the Civil War and in both World Wars. Those are the basics, but there is an article that I found, stumbled upon it out of nowhere in 2023. Can't even remember why I was searching, what I was searching, but I found it. Article is from the Bruton Leader, dated October 10th, 1893, and it tells an eerie story. Researching old newspaper archives for content, I guess that's probably why I found it, but the headline simply read, "Trussville Stirred Up." Not much has changed, I suppose. Typically, the lead that follows under a headline like that isn't that interesting. Call it the clickbait of 1893, I guess. But this one was legitimate. Here's the lead. Trussville is stirred up by the mystery of 2 unknown men, a curious trunk, 2 empty boxes, and a cave. I was hooked. The story went that a man named Mr. Keiss, Keiss, from Eastlake, he was passing through Trussville. He met 2 strangers on the roadside. They had with them a 300-pound trunk and 2 large empty wooden boxes. A bargain was agreed upon with Mr. Keiss, who hauled the trunk, men, and boxes about a mile, and at their request, dropped them at the church property. Mr. Keiss left. Near the church property, still to this day, is that well-known cave, initially named Cave Springs, remember? Many know of that cave to this day, but surely many more do not. A gradual incline, the 1893 article states, led into that cave. The mouth partially exposed the interior. At the bottom of the incline, water commenced, and the further in, the deeper the water, and the wider the cavern. The water can be seen from the outside, and for this reason, it was the typical Sunday duty of church-going parents to keep children from peeping over the ledge of the mouth and falling into the cave that was full of fish. Many recesses, the article stated, ran in every direction. It was so large that canoes had been put in and exploration done. Once, the son of James Morrow and his friend went on a curiosity expedition a few days after the mysterious trunk instance, and found the 2 boxes under the water. In raking the boxes out, they were upturned and their contents spilled. Of course, the article stated, the boxes suggested the trunk would also be nearby, but the boys did not find it. As it is, the boys are still fishing for the trunk, and Trussville has something to talk about, the article stated. No one in Trussville remembers seeing the men, trunk, or boxes, it is stated. It is believed that they sunk the boxes, possibly with some of the contents of the trunk, and the trunk by the weight of the residue. I could not locate a follow-up article to this one from 1893. No leads on the 2 men, no discovery of the trunk or its contents, just a mystery that has remained now for 132 years. The article ended the only way that it could, with questions. Who were the men? Where did they come from? Why did they put those boxes in the cave? Where is that heavy trunk? These are the questions now being asked in Trussville. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Leave me a comment on this, on what you believe was in the boxes in the trunk. And we'll see you next time.